They said it was just a movie, a love story, a summer hit, but behind the cameras, It Ends With Us became a battlefield of fame, power, and betrayal. Because when Blake Lively signed that $1 million deal, she wasn't just acting, she was rewriting Hollywood's rulebook. And when Justin Baldoni pushed back, everything changed. The glamour cracked, the secrets leaked. And now the truth about what really happened is finally coming out. Blake Lively didn't just step onto the set of It Ends With Us, she stepped into a world where every smile was strategy and every contract clause was a weapon. The movie was supposed to be a tender adaptation of Colleen Hoover's novel, a story about healing and heartbreak. But somewhere between the first rehearsal and the final cut, it turned into something much darker. Insiders say Blake came in with a plan, and from day one, she wasn't just playing the character, she was playing Hollywood itself. Justin Baldoni, the director, had built the project. From scratch, pouring years of work into it, he wanted truth, vulnerability, and emotion. But Blake saw something else. She saw an empire waiting to be claimed. Her 6-week contract was worth a clean $1.75 million. But what no one saw? Coming were the hidden clauses, the private jet perks. The image control demands, the power approvals for wardrobe and marketing. Everything tailored not for the story, but for the star. As filming began, the chemistry on set shifted slowly, almost imperceptibly. Justin's quiet direction started to clash with Blake's louder influence. Crew members described it like watching a storm form in slow motion. She was precise, charming, impossible to say no to. But behind that smile was a negotiator who knew exactly how far she could push. And the moment the cameras stopped rolling, the balance of power began to tilt. Justin wanted to tell a story about love and loss. Blake wanted to tell a story about herself. It started with small changes, wardrobe notes, set adjustments, publicity, photo choices. And then the marketing meetings began. Insiders whisper that by the time trailers dropped, the focus had shifted from the film's message to Blake's image. Every poster, every headline seemed designed to sell her more than the movie itself. And yet audiences didn't mind. They flooded theaters, crying, laughing, posting their reactions online, turning the film into an unexpected phenomenon. $351 million worldwide. The numbers were staggering, and for a brief moment it seemed like both Blake and Justin had won. But beneath that glittering success, something toxic was brewing. Because in Hollywood, when a movie blows up, so does ego. The film's triumph made Blake a symbol of female-led box office power. She leaned into it, giving interviews about women leading the narrative, about controlling your story. But those close to production say she was also rewriting another story behind the scenes. One that slowly pushed Justin out of his own creation. By the time award season rolled around, the cracks were visible. No nominations, no trophies. And suddenly, the tension that had been simmering spilled into full view. Emails, leaked meetings got tense, and rumors began swirling about a rift between the star and the director. What was once whispers turned into front-page speculation. Justin kept silent, but Blake's camp started steering the narrative. Interviews, press statements, subtle jabs about creative differences. It was a carefully built PR strategy, one that framed her as misunderstood, and him as distant. The industry started choosing sides, and it wasn't long before the smiles disappeared entirely, and the lawyers took over. The lawsuit filings hit like an earthquake. Accusations, counter-accusations, claims of harassment, manipulation, control, and retaliation. Hollywood hadn't seen a feud this messy since the early studio days, and yet in every headline, one thing was clear. This was no longer about art or storytelling. This was about power, who had it, who lost it, and who was willing to risk everything to keep it. As the weeks went on, more details began to surface about Blake's contract, about the bonuses tied to box office milestones, the award season incentives, and the private jets, the control over creative visuals. The more people read, the more it seemed like the movie deal had been designed not just to make money, but to secure dominance. And when Justin finally pushed back, when he refused to let his project be swallowed by celebrity, that's when the real fight began. It was no longer about scenes or scripts, it was about control. And control is the one currency in Hollywood more valuable than fame. By the end of the year, It Ends With Us had gone from cinematic success to courtroom chaos. The smiles from the premieres replaced by grim determination on both sides. And as one insider put it, This wasn't a battle about right or wrong. It was about who could afford to lose less, because in Hollywood, every win has a cost, and for Blake that cost was only just beginning. When the box office glow faded and the applause died down, the real drama began, because what looked like a dream collaboration on the surface had quietly turned into a war behind closed doors by late 2024. The tension between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni had become impossible to ignore. The set had long been wrapped. The movie had shattered records, but the fallout from their creative clash was only getting started. Blake's contract had been her masterpiece, every clause, every bonus, every perk crafted to protect not just her paycheck but her position. She had final approval over styling, press imagery, and even key marketing material, something rarely granted to a leading actress unless they were producing. But here was the twist: she wasn't credited as one, which meant Justin, as director and producer, was expected to hold the reins. But insiders say he quickly realized he was sharing power with someone who refused to be second to anyone. And that's where things began to fracture. People close to the production described the months after release as a quiet tug-of-war over credit. Blake wanted recognition for turning a mid-budget adaptation into a global success. Justin wanted acknowledgement for building it from nothing. The studio wanted peace, but there was none, because both sides believed they had been wronged. And when award nominations didn't come, through the atmosphere turned electric. Blake reportedly felt betrayed. She had delivered one of her most emotional performances. She had carried the press tours, the premieres, the image of strength. Yet the Academy ignored her, and that's when sources say she snapped. The lawyers stepped in with precision, filing claims that painted a very different picture. One where Blake was the wronged party, and Justin the silent aggressor. The timing couldn't have been more perfect. Her legal move dropped right when streaming numbers were peaking, ensuring maximum attention. Justin was blindsided. He responded not with words, but with action. A $400 million countersuit alleging that her accusations were designed to destroy his reputation and rewrite history. And for a moment, it worked. The headlines lit up, the tabloids spun theories, fans split down the middle, and the internet became a battlefield. But courtrooms aren't driven by likes or sympathy. They're driven by evidence. And that's where the story started to shift. When documents were unsealed, the world saw how calculated every move had been. The bonuses, the control clauses, the perks. It was all laid bare. And suddenly the narrative of empowerment began to look like something else entirely: ambition disguised as advocacy. Control disguised as creativity. The legal experts called it one of the most expensive ego clashes in recent Hollywood history. And the ripple effects were immediate. Brands hesitated, studios paused offers, and the woman once praised for her composure started to look unpredictable. The legal bills stacked up faster than the box office bonuses. And while her lawyers argued, headlines wrote themselves. The golden image of Blake Lively began to tarnish. The press turned from admiration to curiosity, to skepticism overnight. The same publications that once celebrated her red carpet grace began publishing think pieces about overreach and image obsession. And through it all, Justin Baldoni remained silent. No interviews, no tweets, no public meltdowns. Just calm professionalism. That in Hollywood, silence can be louder than a statement. It became his armor. His silence made him the survivor, the reasonable one. The man unfairly pulled into chaos while Blake fought to keep control of the story, and that's what no one expected. The court of public opinion started to turn. The same internet that once worshipped her began dissecting her every move, calling out contradictions, connecting dots between leaked messages and deposition quotes, and soon it became clear that the damage wasn't just legal, it was reputational. Her name, which once opened doors, now came with hesitation, and every new deal required more assurance, more negotiation, more PR spin, because Hollywood forgives scandal, but it rarely forgets. It was as if every red carpet smile had been replaced by a question mark. And while Blake tried to frame the ordeal as part of a larger movement about women in power, the industry saw it differently. They saw a cautionary tale about how fast influence can backfire when pushed too far. And by early 2025, the verdict wasn't just in the courtroom. It was in the culture. Blake Lively had won attention, but lost trust. She had headlines, but not goodwill. And in an industry built on relationships and image, that's a debt you can't pay off with money. Justin, meanwhile, was quietly rebuilding while Blake fought to salvage perception. He focused on production deals, partnerships, and creative independence. His restraint was his strategy. His comeback was quiet but deliberate, and those who once doubted him began to see him differently. Not as a director under fire, but as the man who survived a Hollywood storm without losing himself. And that contrast became the story that no PR team could buy. Because while Blake's name trended for controversy, Justin's name began circulating in industry circles as a symbol of grace under pressure. He didn't need to win in court. He had already won in reputation. And that is what Hollywood values most: respect, in the end. The story of Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni stopped being about a movie and became a lesson about Hollywood itself, about how fame can elevate and destroy. In the same breath Blake entered, it ends. With us with ambition and left it surrounded by controversy. What was supposed to be her defining role turned into a mirror reflecting everything she tried to control: the glamour, the confidence, the dominance, all crumbled under the weight of exposure. Justin Baldoni, on the other hand, proved that silence can be strategy, that patience can outlast noise, and that integrity is the only real power in a business built on illusion. Their feud wasn't just another celebrity scandal, it was a glimpse behind the curtain of how fragile fame really is. Blake might still walk red carpets and sign deals, but the sparkle now comes with shadows. And Hollywood is watching closely because every empire built on image eventually faces its reckoning. She wanted the crown, but the throne came with a cost. And in that cost lies the moral of the story. No one truly wins when reputation becomes the battlefield. Only those who walk away quietly keep their legacy intact. In the end, the saga of Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni became more than a Hollywood feud. It became a parable about the unseen cost of ambition and the fragile balance between fame and authenticity. Blake went into It Ends With Us, determined to prove she was more than a starlet. From the past, she wanted control over her story, her image, and her legacy. And for a while it worked: the money, the headlines, the praise, they all made it look like she had mastered the system. But Hollywood is a mirror. It reflects what you project and magnifies what you hide beneath the red carpets and designer gowns. Her desire for control became a trap. Each headline, each rumor, each leaked detail chipped away at the perfection she'd worked so hard to protect. What began as empowerment ended in exhaustion. What began as strategy ended in scrutiny. Justin Baldoni faced the same storm, yet handled it with quiet steadiness. His choice to stay composed, to let truth unfold, rather than fight for the last word, turned him into something Hollywood rarely rewards: genuine. His calm became his armor, his integrity, his redemption. And while Blake's reputation wavered, his grew stronger. The lesson hidden within this downfall is simple: power in Hollywood is temporary, reputation is permanent. Though audience can forgive mistakes, but not manipulation. Success fades, but respect endures. Blake's $1 million contract may have bought her the spotlight, but it couldn't buy her peace. The more she tried to control the narrative, the faster it slipped away. Fame may have crowned her, but consequence unmasked her. And when the lights dimmed and the noise faded, what remained wasn't the movie, the awards, or the numbers. It was the truth that in the pursuit of control, she lost the one thing. No contract can guarantee trust.